What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? And welcome to a brand new episode of the JAACoolio show. And on this episode, I'm going to be reacting to a video. Now, this video that I'm going to be reacting to is a video called 15 Ways Poor People Try to Look Rich. That's what the name of the video is called. 15 Ways Poor People Try to Look Rich. Now, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to insult, but I'm just want to learn some facts. Just want to learn some facts here. And this is on a channel called JAACoolio.com. JAACoolio.com. So I've been scrolling for YouTube and looking for interesting content to watch. And I found in one of my notifications, I found 15 ways poor people try to look rich. And I was thinking, I should see this. I should definitely see this video. I definitely want to see this video, and I definitely want to learn something. So I decided to hit a video and try to watch it. This time, I'm going to be reacting to it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're brand new to the JAACoolio show, be sure to like, comment, share, and to subscribe. So if you're new to the channel, you should definitely subscribe to the channel for more content to come up. And that's basically it. And I'd like to disclose something, full disclosure, I am a subscriber to this channel. I love this channel, JAACoolio.com. There's a lot of interesting facts about money, lifestyle, and luxury. And besides, if you know me pretty decently, I am a luxury enthusiast. I love luxury. That's why I decided to subscribe to JAACoolio.com here. So, without wasting any time, let's go ahead and watch the video.
Hello A-Luxers and welcome back. This is gonna be one of those videos, so buckle up. We want to preface this by saying that everyone is free to do as they want, but please know that short-term decisions, people go broke trying to look rich when it really doesn't matter. In a society that revolves around social media, everyone is peacocking, trying to play status games. We believe that Randy Newman said it best, big hat, no cattle. Pay attention to this phenomenon. Welcome to JAACoolio.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. So, let's cut the intro short. Here are 15 ways poor people try to look rich. Number 1. Your car is more expensive than your house. What's up with that? Have you noticed that actual rich people buy safer cars that go unnoticed while the pretenders do their best to stand out? Once again, peacocking, but this time with dire financial consequences. Cars, very much like large TVs, are not an investment. They're actually one of the worst expenses you can make from a financial perspective. Why would you buy an expensive car when you're still paying rent? And don't even get us started on your Chrysler 300, you know, the Walmart Bentley, and the whole expensive rims on trashy cars phenomenon. Nobody who's actually rich buys that kind of stuff. Number 2, they brag about money. Okay, here's the truth. Rich people...
Now I'd like to say something. Before we move on to number 2, I'd like to talk about number 1. Now, number 1 talked about your car being more expensive than your house. I mean, comment down below if you know something, if you've seen something like this before, where your car is more expensive than your house. But to me, I think that's kind of strange. I think that's kind of strange where your car is more expensive than your house. Let's say, for example, someone has a Bentley, a brand new Bentley, but they live in a trashy house. Yeah, that's what I want to say about this. But just keep in mind, we're watching a video here, so this ain't me saying this is them that's saying this. So yeah, that's what I wanted to point out.
Rich people don't like talking about money unless it's a business deal that's happening. Money is like the gas you put in the tank. You bring it up only if you're running low. We said it once and we'll say it again. Poverty screams, wealth whispers. In wealthier circles, it's actually faux pas to bring up money in conversation, because if you really have money, it's irrelevant how much you spent on anything. The fact you're mentioning prices is showing that it's a really big purchase for you. The more you think about it, nobody mentions how much you paid for a pack of chewing gum. Number 3. Bedazzled anything and sequin dresses. Rhinestones.
Yeah, so a quote in the video caught my attention. Guess what quote it was? It was in the video. And that was poverty screams and wealth whispers. Now, tell me from your own experience, do you believe that quote? Do you believe it? And tell me why you believe it in the comments. I want to know why. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know your opinion. That was what drew my attention in the second, number 2. That's what drew my attention the most.
They're trashy apart from poor people who love putting rhinestones on everything, and we mean everything. Poor people love showing off their bedazzled items like it's some kind of status symbol. Step away from your bedazzled iPhone case, your jeans, your Starbucks cup, and everything else. Sorry, girls, but nobody finds these things attractive. Stop doing this to your nails. We think it's the appeal of being shiny, but not in a good way. In a cheap way that everybody knows is cheap. It's the same appeal for sequin dresses. And speaking of shiny things that have little value, number 4, they buy zirconium and try to pass it off as diamonds. Have you seen these folks walking around with massive chains and bling, strutting around like they're the next Lil Wayne? Most of these are fake. You can cop a diamond and gold-plated bracelet for $14 on Amazon. Or you could get not 1, but 2 diamond dollar signs, all for the great price of $9.59. In the words of JAACoolio, you probably sneeze too hard and this could break. There's actually a YouTuber called Unghetto who goes around a mall testing people's stones with a diamond tester that proves most people play pretend. As a rule of thumb in life, stop spending real money on fake things.
Here at Omaze, we've given you the chance to win some pretty fast cars.
Number 5, bad plastic surgery and...
Alright, so I'm gonna talk about something here. So number 4 was good. The next one was my favorite one. So one where it talks about zirconium or something like that. Using zirconium to pass it off as real material. And comment down below if you met someone who wears if you met some people who wear fake or real jewelry. You can comment down below if you want. But I've seen, but it's common. But I like to say that it's common. People love to wear fake jewelry. People love to wear fake jewelry. And that's what caught my attention the most. That's one of the things that caught my attention. It was the fake jewelry part. Because a lot of people like to look the part, and like to look rich by wearing all this jewelry. So-called real, they like to call it real jewelry, but it's actually fake jewelry. When they get diamond tests or something like that, and they get exposed, they get humiliated. They humiliate themselves pretty much, but just keep in mind, I'm not the one who's saying this. We're watching a video here, so I ain't the one who's saying all this stuff. The video is the one that's saying this stuff. I'm just reacting to this, and I'm just giving you my opinion on this. I'm just giving you my thoughts and my thought process on it.
They say never cheap out when getting a tattoo or plastic surgery because it definitely shows. So many people walk around with what is obvious bad plastic surgery. These girls be strutting around with Jaja Binks lips or worse. It's gotten to a point where some people can't even close their mouth properly. And you know, it's the same with breast implants and tattoos. Now, it doesn't stop there. Fake tans are another status symbol the poor like to play. This is because getting a real tan in the winter months requires flying to a different spot in the world where you can still find some favorable sun. Because that's too expensive, people just decided to spray paint their bodies, walking around with what is borderline blackface in some cases. And the men do it too. Number 6, they rent or borrow cars to go on dates. We understand the idea that one should always try to punch above their weight class if they want to improve, but it's gotten to a point where people are taking out short-term loans to rent cars and pay for meals in order to impress girls in the hopes of getting laid. That's why he pulled up in a Benz the first time you met, but the next time he took an Uber since his car's in the garage right now, because, you know, he's doing some upgrades on it. It's the same reason why he doesn't allow you to touch any of the buttons in the car or gets mad if you open any of the compartments. It's not his car. The notion that one spends money to impress people who otherwise wouldn't be impressed by who you truly are is like living on borrowed time. Eventually, it catches up to you. You know what's better than fake it till you make it? Actually making it by not sabotaging yourself so early in the game. Number 7. They overdress. At most, rich people dress appropriately. Poor people have no idea to dress depending on different situations. We've seen numerous times ladies coming in high heels on a sailing trip or to a garden party. Wealth comes with options and variety. Just because your friend lent you her pair of Louboutins and your mind reads that as expensive, wearing them to a garden party reads...
Alright, now tell me. So tell me down below in the comments if you met anyone like this. So the part where it says they overdress, number 7. You can comment down below if you want, if you met anybody who's like this. Because I've definitely met some people who are like that. I mean, they overdress. To me, they overdress maybe to impress people, maybe to show off something, or they're compensating for something deep down inside. They're compensating. Either one of those reasons. But yeah, just think about it. Let's say, for example, there's a party, a casual party, where people dress up in casual clothes, whatever, casual drip, and one person shows up in a suit or a tuxedo to a party. What do you think of that? A guy dressed up in a suit to a party in a tuxedo, where everybody's wearing casual clothes. I mean, just think about it. I mean, what would you think about that? What would you think? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. But now, let's keep going.
Is to dismiss you. Number 8. There's less money in the bag than what you paid for the bag. Here's the deal. Stop asking for expensive bags until you can afford to buy them yourself. What's the point of having an Hermes Birkin bag worth in excess of $10,000 when you haven't paid your utility bills for the past 3 months? Bags and shoes are to many women what cars are for guys. As a matter of fact, not even, because guys buy cars to impress girls while girls ask for bags to impress other girls and signal that they're doing better than they are. Unless you are personally worth over $1 million, you shouldn't buy a luxury watch or a luxury bag. Your balance sheet says you can't afford it.
My name is Scott Harrison.
Just listen.
This is my wife, my son.
Number 9. An impressive fence, but not so much behind it. You know those people who put lions on their fences and have impressive gates, but they're unable to heat up the house during the winter months? You probably do. Why is it you've got a Versace gate, but you can't afford to put pavement or at least concrete on the ground? Number
9 is an interesting one. So number 9 mentions that a fancy ass fence, but not so much behind it. I mean, just tell me down below. Tell me down below what you think. Tell me down below in the comments what you think about this. Tell me down below if you've seen something like this. Because for me, I ain't never seen nothing like that. I've never seen nothing like this. Because the city where I live in Canberra, if you go to the rich side of Canberra, or the rich parts of Canberra, or let's say the richest parts of Canberra, all the gates are like borderline, huge, or like hefty and fancy. And it was like, some of the walls like bushed up with trees, something like that. Some of them are like covered up with trees for privacy. And some of them have like, let's say a fancy ass fence and a big ass mansion right behind it. And let's see what else. And some of the mansions in the richest parts of Canberra have like bushed up walls where like the fence is like covered up in bushes and there's trees behind it. Then you have to look real hard to see the real mansion or the real house. But to me, in my personal opinion, I don't think I've seen anything like this before.
You don't need to associate yourself with other people for them to take you seriously. Name dropping is, by definition, deliberately mentioning someone famous, even though it's not necessary or adds to the core of the point you're making. It's circumstantial or network flexing. These people never talk about the things they've done, but instead try to use other people's clout to put themselves up on a pedestal. They want credibility through association. In our experience, these people are celebrity collectors. They would do anything to add your name to the list and then leverage your credibility somewhere else, all with the purpose of getting themselves access. You and everybody else are like a trophy they like to throw around. The only appropriate time to name drop is if you're meeting someone new, and the person you're about to name drop is a close mutual acquaintance or friend. A while back, we made a video called 15 Rules for Being a Gentleman, which you can check out by clicking in the top right corner. We strongly recommend you watch or rewatch it after this video. Number 11. Cash. You don't expect literal money to be a sign of poverty, but that's the world we're living in. People withdraw their rent or mortgage payment money and carry it around as if it's pocket change.
Now, I like to talk about this. And number 11, where it says cash, right? Where people like to show off their cash like this. Let's say, for example, they have the hand out like this, and they're carrying it, and they're showing off the cash in the hand like this, or something like that. But you know how they do it. You see it on social media, see it on Instagram, something like that, for example, or on TV, or just see people do that in person, on the street, or something like that. But you know how some people like just be flashing their money like this in their hand, like holding up a pack of cards. Let me know if you've seen something like that. What was the craziest money flex that you've seen in your life with cash, literal cash in hand? The craziest thing you've seen. Because in this video, it talks about it. And have you ever heard the saying, where rich people act broke and broke people act rich? Let me say that again. Have you heard this saying? Have you heard the saying where rich people act broke, but broke people act rich? Yeah, that's why it mentions that.
Not a lot of love for Soulja Boy being one of the first celebrities to subscribe to JAACoolio on YouTube, but the money phone situation needs to stop. In the words of Jay-Z, y'all on the gram holding money to your ear, there's a disconnect. We don't call that money over here. And that's because actual rich people don't carry around cash in $1 bills like a stripper who had a productive night. It's all in your bank account. Get this right. If you can actually withdraw in cash all the money you have from the bank, you're not rich. You might not know this, but it can take up to a month for any bank to give you $10 million in cash or more, and there's a waiting period and procedures that all need to happen. Not to mention, you're gonna pay a hefty cash withdrawal fee. Number 12. They prioritize design over utility. And it's hilarious when everyone sees you do it. You girls end up looking like Zaya Dahar in the white dress going up the stairs at the Versace show in Paris from several years ago. Rich people value quality over design. That's exactly why most rich people appear to wear boring clothes. Most of these people are actually wearing really expensive brands, they just don't buy flashy products targeted toward poor and middle-class people. Instead, there's a quality-driven layer of products.
Now, I like to pause and just really think about this for a minute. The part where it says they prioritize design over quality or comfort, just have a look at me, for example. What do you see? What do you notice? What do you think I'm wearing? Any comments? Any guesses? Exactly. You don't see any flashy design logos here. I'm just wearing a plain hoodie, nothing on it, no logo on it. Basic, and I paid basic money for it. except the watch. But that's the point I'm making. That's the point that these guys are making. But just before we continue, comment down below if you met someone like this before. I'm sure you met some people like this before, and I know I have met people like this before. But comment down below if you want, if you met people like this before.
The less comfortable something is, the worse you're going to feel in it, and people can see comfort. Number 13. They pretend entry-level brands are luxury brands. Pandora, Michael Kors, Coach, Tommy Hilfiger, Hugo Boss, these are just the tip of the iceberg. These are all mid-range products targeted to the middle and lower class. These break as easily as fast fashion products, only you pay a bit more because you're trying to look richer than you actually are. We mentioned earlier there are different tiers of quality that luxury brands use. There's more than one Versace. You have Versace Jeans Couture and then actual rich people Versace. The same way you have the $100 Valentino bags, and then there's the Valentino Garavani, where bags are around $3,000 each. Balenciaga, through their status-focused marketing, got poor people paying $1,000 for mass-produced sneakers, money they can barely afford. These brands leverage their name recognition to get you to pay more for generic products. And if you actually meet someone who is wealthy, they can immediately tell that you're only status signaling without even having a proper understanding of the luxury market. And speaking of brands, number 14. You're a walking billboard for brands. Okay, so who's wearing?
A guy like me ain't got nothing against brands. Ain't got nothing against designer brands. Matter of fact, full disclosure, I like designer clothes. I love designer clothes. The difference is, I wear them less often as I used to. Because back in the, I remember in 2019, almost every day, I'll walk out fully dripped out in designer clothes. But last year, 2020, I decided to dress it down. I decided to dress it down. It's something more simple, something more low profile. Yeah. Which brings us to number 14, where it mentions that you're walking billboard for brands. That reminds me of the reason why I decided to dress my drip down to where it is right now. Because I didn't want to look like a walking billboard. Because let's say, for example, I walk out on the street in the city and I see the majority of people, or a good percentage of people walking dripped out in designer drip with brands all over them. I can spot a good percentage of them, and I can tell for sure that they ain't rich and they ain't wealthy. Or maybe they are. Who knows? Who knows if they're rich or not? But I'm just saying that from my personal experience, when I walk out into the street in the city, I'll see a good percentage of people dressed up in designer clothes looking like billboards, pretty much.
You can now afford to buy superior brand products, but a tiny logo or no logo at all is more impressive. Good design is timeless, and quality doesn't need to yell. You can recognize a classic Burberry trench coat from a distance without needing to see the iconic pattern. When you're poor, you want the recognition brands give you because you're using these brands to go up in the social hierarchy. When you're rich and successful, it's the exact opposite. Who you are as an individual is more valuable than the brand you're wearing, which is why putting a brand on display would actually cheapen the perception of those around you. Can you imagine someone like Elon Musk or Bill Gates wearing a full Gucci tracksuit? Even more so, we were shocked to find out that people actually leave the tags on their clothing or products just so people know they bought them new and not secondhand. I mean, just why? Number 15. Fancy place in a shitty area. The last item on our list has to do with the environment in which you live. You spend most of your life in and around your home. When you look out the window, what do you see? Poor people spend more time inside the house, right? While rich always focus on the view. Long term, it's better to be the poorest house in a rich neighborhood than the richest house in a poor one. Your environment has this power to shape your future, so use it to your advantage. Hopefully you won't fall into the trap of any of these 15, but since this is a conversation and we want you to join in, what are some ways poor people try to seem rich? What do they do? Let us know in the comments, and it can serve as a bit of a wake-up call for some people. I mean, like we said in the intro, people go broke trying to look rich. And as for those of you who are still watching, here's your bonus. This one is quite different from everything else on our list, but if there's one thing to take away from this video, it's that honesty is a very expensive gift. Do not expect it from cheap people. These are the wise words of Warren Buffett, and we couldn't agree with him more. The richer you are, the less you feel like you need to lie, because there's less at stake in terms of personal image. The more solid you are as an individual, as a business or brand, the less need for creative embellishments there is in your narrative. In our experience, brutal honesty has been one of the most effective tools for growth. Put the truth out on the table in its rawest form possible. It gives you something to work on and a point to start at. If you're looking to grow, always start with the truth. Now, if you've made it up to this point in the video, please write the word truth in the comments and click the like button underneath the video. The YouTube algo has been crushing us lately, and we need all the help we can get.
Now there you have it. There you have it. So, how the people on the lower income spectrum try to look like as if they're on the higher income spectrum. So basically what poor people do to try to look rich was what the video was about. And hopefully you enjoyed that video that I reacted to. Hopefully you didn't see this as an attack or an offense. If it was, I apologize, but I just wanted to learn something. This was a learning opportunity, and yeah. Then tell me down below in the comments what you learned from this video. Tell me down below in the comments what you've learned from the video. And yeah, I mean, it's very common, and I ain't surprised, because a lot of people try and, let's say, fake it till they make it, or let's just say fake flexing, fake flex. It's very common. And it's even worse, it's even more common on social media. I mean, just if you think about it, if you just think about it for a minute. Because a lot of people are trying to put on the front, and that front can be busted. People can see through that front and know that they didn't like that. They didn't like it, and it just tells me that a lot of people really are really desperate to put on a fake front, to say the least. Put on a fake front, especially in the last number 14 or 15, something like that, where it talks about you live in a fancy place in a not so good area. That used to be. I think that's me right now, where I'm living right now, because I used to live in a really rich suburb, in a very rich suburb, but I lived in a very poor part of that suburb, a very poor part of the suburb. Yeah, so that's basically, I mean, it was good. It was an interesting video, to say the least. Very interesting video, very informative and very interesting. Not that I agree with every single thing in the video, but it was very interesting regardless. Yeah, so that was basically it. That's basically all I have for you today on this episode of the JAACoolio show. If you're new to the show, be sure to subscribe and be sure to stay tuned for more episodes where I react to different videos and possibly have different people on this show. Yeah, it's a great show, a great channel. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe to JAACoolio.com if you're a luxury enthusiast like me. People who like fine living, people who like luxury, like myself. If you're into that kind of stuff, be sure to also subscribe to JAACoolio.com. Leave a link to the video I reacted to in the description. Leave a link to the actual channel in the description below so that you can go check them out for yourself. That's it for me on the JAACoolio show. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of the JAACoolio show.